I was really becoming the bottleneck in everything. So as I'm like, trying to do this other thing, grow the business in an exponential way, I'm being pulled in other directions to, solve problems or put out fires and, talk to clients and stuff like that. And even, do some of the production work, which, I fortunately haven't done for a while now, but I really needed to get out of that day-to-day stuff so I could focus on growing the business. We had scrambled to meet deadlines before. Sometimes, I would say probably half the time we were meeting deadlines and the other half the time we were missing it by like hours or maybe a day. And now we just don't miss deadlines at all. We've really been able to, through staff development and through, the ways we communicate, really eliminate any of those issues. I want to give the message that probably your prospective clients want to hear, which is that our revenue has doubled since we've been working with you. And that's because I've been able to focus on our marketing. The first calendar year that we worked with Beyond the Chaos, we increased 65% in revenue over the year before. We couldn't have done that without the help of you and your company. And I'm at a point now where I don't have to work if I don't want to, and I really want to right now. But if I wanted to completely leave the business for 90 days, I'd feel confident that everything would still get done.
Could we have figured it out? Sure, but it might have taken us a year to figure it out. And it was really important for us to get started with the right step, to get started prepared for having the entire staff trained on teamwork. So it was worthwhile for us to hire a consultant. Our consultant with Beyond the Chaos was fantastic. And not only, I guess there were three components. The first component was taking what we needed, looking at our workflow and figuring out how that would work best in teamwork. The second part was training the staff. And the third part was the documentation so that the staff had something to go back to look at. And I knew I wanted the first. I don't think I completely realized the scope for the second part and definitely had not thought about the third. But I'm happy to say that the consultant from Beyond the Chaos was great. She thought of all three of them.
The real pain was my business partner, Mark, and I, we were reaching the upper limits of our own capacity. The first thing Beyond the Chaos did was work with us for a full month to really get a true audit of what we were doing in the company, like who was responsible for what. I think we gave y'all an org chart, or at least kind of talked it through. Also, Mark and I, and maybe Carrie, I don't recall, but anyway, the people on the leadership team made wrote down for the course of a couple weeks every single thing that we did for the business. We did an activity audit, and then from there, Beyond the Chaos was able to review it and kind of start creating, putting all the activities that we did into different buckets, functional system buckets, basically. Beyond the Chaos just got into the annals of our company and just figured out what was working right, what was dysfunctional, what could be shifted, but most importantly, just surrounding systems and processes, where the gaps were. My judgment was that it was going to be harder to train this man that we brought in from the field to be in the office. I thought it would be much harder and more laborious and take longer to train him to do parts of my job than it actually, in reality, really ended up taking. We grew a bunch. I believe when we engaged you, we were a bit maybe 7 or 9 employees, and we were, I think, maybe 500 or 700,000 in revenue. We kept the headcount the same, and we grew to 1.25 million in revenue by the end of 2022.
You essentially doubled your revenue just because of efficiencies and structure.
100%.
That's wonderful.
You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your processes. And that was totally not. We were holding ourselves back by just not getting better for the company. Anyway, so I would say, however good you think you are, you're only as strong as your weakest process.
I'm an engineer at heart. The admin stuff and all of that stuff, it's I don't really want to have to deal with it. But there's a really fundamental problem that happens when you do that. The real challenge was to go from that 3 people to maybe the 10 people. This is getting to the point that I'm starting to get stressed out and pulled all over. And that's where we had found you. One of the first things that you did is implement some systems, start to document a few things. So those systems that we implemented, They're ones that allow us to do things like review our employees and regular review meetings every quarter. That was the biggest thing, is the growth. But the growth can't happen without increasing sales and revenue and things like that. And that could only happen because we could start to take on bigger clients. So we started off like a little sole developer where I make something for some company or something like that. And we ended up with, now we have an actual consulting firm. And going forward, we're taking those same principles, the same things that you and your team has helped us with, and we're trying to expand that.
We started to define processes, we changed some applications, we built templates around things, and through all of that, it's really simplified the business. Now, as things progress throughout the current day, there's so many things I don't do anymore. It's all been delegated, and there's a process around that. And with your continued involvement at this point, then you're helping tweak those processes to further do that. Now that we've got the right team, we've got the processes in place. So now everything's just kind of, stacking up. I'm just feeling very blessed.
It's really great to consider Beyond the Chaos for both the long term and the short term. Pre-project types of scoping and all, that's all been better defined for our team. And so it helps us to really better align and not be so confused when it's pre and post project time.
With that fast-paced environment, plus working remotely, we had to have a process that would work for us. It couldn't be real heavy. It couldn't be, it had to be well-defined, but also it couldn't get in the way of us getting work done at the same time. We engaged your team to do project management services for us, which was definitely set us up for long-term success. And that was so important. It wasn't just, oh, here's the new process, have a nice day. It was, here's the new process, and now we're going to help you implement this across your projects. And we have our project management experts who will help you do that. And we still, that really set us up for today. Today, we have our own project manager who follows the templates and all the processes that Susan and her team implemented for us. And so you really should, go for it. Hire an external party like Beyond the Chaos to help you analyze your internal processes. They'll see what's wrong where you and your team may not, because you're too close to it. They'll bring their fresh perspective on how to improve those processes. And then, as part of the entire engagement, can help you implement and continue that through their ongoing project management.
There were literally holes I hadn't even thought about. And I took your audit and thought, oh, wow, yeah, I don't think we have this. I think we need this.
Your team was able to run and do it. And again, we know kind of what we need to do, but there was never, there's not time in the day, right? And we can't all work 60 to 88 hours nonstop. We'll all burn out. So we just needed more help, and having someone who had the experience to do that. And now I feel like she's just kind of part of the team, and she knows us well enough. I really enjoy working because I feel like she knows us well enough to help us through that. And I think she brings, really thoughtful comments to it and brings good tools. I remember one of the things when we were deciding, what should we start documenting? She's like, well, do you have an organization chart?
Thank you.